Great to see you here again. My name is Luc de Custer, founder of the Custer Academy. And in this video, I will talk about the deterministic approach, which we also call the waterfall methodology. But before we continue, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Let's have a look at the deterministic approach or the waterfall methodology. We also refer to the deterministic approach as waterfall. As you see, we have a waterfall which is in fact composed of different steps. First, we define the requirements, then we design, we implement, we verify, and basically we go to the maintenance stage of the project. Now, when you look at all these elements, all these steps are planned in detail. We have detailed charts, detailed information, a detailed Gantt chart, and a detailed budget. And there is basically no room for flexibility. Although I think even in a waterfall approach, we have to take into account that things may change, that things could be different. Now, when we look at this waterfall approach, when we apply it in the more flexible project management or projects, this approach can lead to catastrophes. It's not really the approach that will provide you with a successful project. And it's very important to look at some examples. We have the HMS Queen Elizabeth, also nicknamed the HMS Windows XP, because when people were, or when the press was visiting the ship, they found that some computers were still running on Windows XP. And I'm talking about a ship that has been released, I think, 2017-18. The stories have been, of course, countered by the Department of Defense. But basically, what can we learn from this? Basically, we can say here that even when you are implementing a system and you have a clear set of requirements, you know what you're going to do. Even in this case, changes will happen in the systems, the operating systems of computers. You have to build in the flexibility that you can adjust this during the project. When the people were asked about the project, the only answer that was given is that, well, we built it according to the specifications. Now, specifications can change, certainly when you have projects that take a long time to complete. Another very nice example is the Sainsbury failing supply chain management system. They implemented a complete new system to manage the supply chain, and basically when they implemented, the system didn't work. There are many other examples. I think the Denver airport was also one of those. Those very big changes where everything is implemented at the end, and then people see that the program, that the requirements they completed or the project they finished doesn't really work as intended. And we have to look also at projects in fast-changing environments. It doesn't have to be IT related. It can be related also to other project environments. For example, when you look at marketing, things can change there very quickly. And if you fix everything at the beginning, you lose that flexibility to adjust to the changing environment. When we look at the requirements and waterfall, everything is gathered at the beginning of the project and people agree on those requirements. They are like written in stone. These are the requirements that the project has to fulfill in order to be successful. Changes of the requirements are not considered. Everything has been defined, will be completed as defined. Changes, if they're very difficult to do, and in many cases, people do not want to change it, which is in some cases basically a very big problem. Once they have the requirements, the team starts working on the project and defines all the activities. They create the Gantt chart and the activities are described in the task sheet and they are tested before they are considered to be complete. Now, the delivery of the solution according to the contract is provided, but there is no evaluation or re-evaluation with the customer. So basically, the requirements are set in the beginning, but what happens if, due to business reasons, the requirements have to be changed? You will have a project or a completed product or a service which does not take into account the changes in the environment, and what can happen is that you already have to start implementing new changes, and in some cases the solution is completely worthless. When we look at the deterministic approach, we can look at the advantages and the disadvantages. Let's first have a look at the advantages. Waterfall projects are easy to manage. The model is very rigid, but it makes it easy to manage and follow the steps. You have those Gantt charts that you can use to see what is happening. Time management, well, every activity has been defined to start at a certain moment, to be finished at a certain moment. There are clear time intervals and milestones show the progress of the project. Everything is thoroughly planned, so everything is planned from the beginning, and the management knows what to expect. You have very detailed plans, and that also may be a disadvantage, because I was talking to some chief information officer of a large Czech company, and she said, well, it's very strange. I have two people. One makes the perfect plan, but execution is always a disaster, and the other one makes a plan that we don't like, but the projects are a success. And I told her, well, basically, when you have a perfect plan, you worked so hard, everything is planned into the details, for you it's the perfect solution. Would you like to change it when it's necessary? And of course, all the work that has been done, and when you have to implement those changes, it introduces a lot of additional work and, unfortunately, also new risks. Planning, also, when you do it in too much detail, may be a reason why the people don't want to change the plan. It's very bad to imagine. I had students asking me, do we have to do this? We have to go through this again and again. And I said, yes, you have to adjust the plan when it's necessary. But it was already shown that they understood that there is so much work done that basically, in some cases, is not applicable anymore, and it has to be changed. Of course, we also have some disadvantages. Lack of flexibility. It's very difficult to change things. There is little communication with the customer, and change management, like I said, it's very difficult. It has a lot of impact on the entire project. All the charts, Gantt charts, all the calculations have to be redone, with, of course, the risk that something may go wrong in this moment. There is a lot of unnecessary work that has been done or is being done in the deterministic approach. There are detailed plans that we may have to change later, or we may have reports that nobody is reading. There's a lot of paperwork going around, a lot of work that we can probably reduce, because what is the advantage of creating a report that nobody will read? And finally, there are long cycles. Because we continue with the project, it can take months or years before the project is finished. And there is no way to review what's happening. We don't necessarily have products that are already usable. And this is a very big disadvantage for the deterministic approach. It doesn't mean that the deterministic approach has to be forgotten. In some cases, the deterministic approach is the best way to use on a project. It doesn't always have to be an agile approach, but we will talk about that later. So that was it for this video. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.